Texas.
Yeah, what's your take on Lamont Roach, man?
Tough kid from out of DC. I like him. He remind me of a small version of Simon Brown.
Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach is being discussed as a potential fight for December 21st on the same card as Tyson versus Usyk's rematch. Gervonta's coach Kenny Ellis talked about the potential fight that might happen and highlighted his eagerness to see them both in the ring.
What do you think about Lamont Roach and him?
Oh man, that's a good fight. That's a real good fight. I would love to see that. That'll be a scrappy fight.
Rick Glazer, who has over 30 years of experience as a matchmaker, promoter, and consultant, broke the news that Gervonta Tank Davis has finally set his next opponent, confirming that WBA 130-pound champion Lamont Roach will move up to 135 pounds for a December fight. Both fighters hail from Maryland, making it a local bout for fans in the DMV region. He wrote in a tweet, "Tank Davis' next opponent is going to be WBA 130-pound champion Lamont Roach, moving up to 135 pounds for this fight only. It'll be in December. They're both from Maryland, so it could well be in the DMV region, details being finalized." After months of uncertainty and speculation, Gervonta Tank Davis has finally locked in his next opponent following the cancellation of his previously anticipated fight with Jose Valenzuela. Michael Benson has also reported that the fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach could potentially take place on December 21st. Interestingly, this is the same date as the highly anticipated rematch between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, though that event would be held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Davis vs. Roach is expected to be held in Washington, D.C., making December 21st a significant day for boxing fans with two major events happening simultaneously. He wrote in his tweet, "Gervonta Davis vs. Lamont Roach reportedly could take place on Dec 21st, the same date as the Alexander Usyk vs. Tyson Fury rematch. Tank vs. Roach would be in Washington, D.C., USA, while Usyk vs. Fury is set for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia." Though Valenzuela was once rumored to face Davis, he won't be ready to fight until early 2025. As a result, Davis's team has moved forward with a new opponent for an expected bout in November or December. There has been significant backlash regarding the announcement of Gervonta Tank Davis potentially facing Lamont Roach. Many boxing fans and analysts have expressed dissatisfaction with this matchup, considering Roach as a far less compelling opponent compared to other available fighters. Critics argue that Roach, who would be moving up from the super featherweight division, 130 lbs, to challenge Davis for his lightweight title, 135 lbs, doesn't pose much of a threat and makes the fight seem like a mismatch. Rick Glazer, after making the announcement, also addressed the backlash and acknowledged that many boxing fans have been critical of this matchup, voicing their concerns online. To ensure that their opinions are heard, Glazer mentioned forwarding these negative comments to PBC executives, including Al Heyman. He wrote on his X handle, "There's so many negative comments about Tank Davis fighting Lamont Roach that I'm forwarding the post and all the comments to a PBC operative. Let's see if Al Heyman and other PBC executives listen to what all you boxing enthusiasts have to say about Tank's opponent. Stay tuned." The sentiment among fans is that Davis's team continues to choose softer opponents, preventing him from facing more dangerous fighters in his division, which could bring more excitement to his career and boost pay-per-view numbers. Names like Devin Haney, Floyd Schofield, and Jose Valenzuela were mentioned as more appealing alternatives that fans would rather see. Details about the event's pay-per-view price or the undercard lineup haven't been confirmed yet, but a price of $74.95 is likely. At that rate, the fight would be fortunate to generate 200,000 buys. Tank's management would likely be satisfied with that number, as it mirrors the pay-per-view sales from Tank's previous fight on June 15th, where he successfully defended his title against Frank Martin. David Benavidez, who fought on that undercard, is rumored to appear on the December event's undercard as well, though it hasn't been confirmed yet. If the price remains at $74.95, a solid undercard with names like Benavidez would be necessary to draw interest. Fans will be hesitant to pay that much to see Tank Davis face another opponent with a relatively weak resume. Lamont Roach, not ranked in the top 15 at lightweight, would leapfrog more deserving contenders for this title shot, which raises questions about the fight's legitimacy. Haven Brady Jr. expressed his excitement about the possibility of a fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. For Brady, this fight holds personal significance because it could lead to the WBA super featherweight title at 130 pounds being vacated, opening opening up new opportunities in the division. He has been waiting for this moment and is eager to see how things unfold. He explained his perspective by saying, "I definitely going to love that because that belt get vacated at 130, so I've been waiting on that, that's why." Haven Brady Jr. further elaborated on his thoughts about the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight. He was initially uncertain about the situation when he heard Davis would be fighting for the WBA title, as he expected Davis to compete at 135 pounds. Brady was also surprised that Roach would move up in weight to take on such a formidable opponent like Davis.
I wasn't sure when it said Gervonta Davis WBA title, so I knew they were gonna move it to 135, but I ain't know Lamont Roach was gonna move up and fight somebody like that. So I definitely think that's a good fight. I mean, I feel like Tank gonna break him down and probably stop him like he always do, but I feel like Lamont Roach, he can box pretty good, so it's gonna be a little harder.
Haven Brady Jr. talked about it, saying that if a fighter enters the ring with fear, Davis can sense it quickly, and it's only a matter of time before he takes them out. Brady mentioned that this ability was evident in fights like Davis' bout with Frank Martin, where Davis starts smiling once he knows he has mentally broken his opponent. He said, "My thing is when people fight Tank, it's matter if they scared or not. If you go in there scared, he sees the fear in you, and it's a matter of time before he takes you out. You can see in the Frank Martin fights and a lot of fights when he starts smiling and stuff, he knows he got to you." Brady went on to explain that if Lamont Roach goes into the fight with the mentality that he is the best and truly aims to win, the fight could be much more competitive. However, Brady remained hopeful that the fight would happen and that the WBA 130-pound title could be vacated afterward, providing an opportunity for other fighters in the division. He added, "So if Lamont are going now with the thing of he trying to win, he the best guy, then it could be a long night. But I'm definitely hopeful that fight can happen, and hopefully that WBA 130 go vacate." Roach, with 10 KOs, who fights at 130 lbs and holds the WBA super featherweight title, would be moving up to 135 lbs to challenge Tank Davis with 28 KOs for his WBA secondary lightweight belt. Roach was once considered a rising star in boxing, but a draw against Orlando Cruz in 2018 and a split decision loss to Jamel Herring in 2019 halted that momentum. Despite holding the WBA super featherweight title, Roach hasn't generated much buzz lately. His most notable recent victory was a split decision win over Hector Luis Garcia, whom Tank Davis knocked out in 9 rounds in January 2023. With this fight, many believe that Roach will have the opportunity to prove himself on a bigger stage, especially against an opponent as high profile as Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank Davis's management appears to follow a consistent strategy of matching him with lesser opponents while keeping him away from the more dangerous fighters in his division. There are plenty of lightweight contenders available, but Tank's team seems content with safer matchmaking choices. Despite all the chatter about this fight, we all know that the best and most anticipated matchup for Davis would be against Shakur Stevenson. There have been ongoing discussions about Gervonta allegedly avoiding a fight with Stevenson, who is widely considered one of the most talented boxers in the lightweight division. However, recent developments, including Stevenson's hand injury, may have prevented him from being the next opponent for Davis. This injury could be the main reason Davis and his team opted for Roach instead of Stevenson. Kenny Ellis, Gervonta Davis's coach, shared his thoughts on the upcoming Joe Cordina vs. Shakur Stevenson fight. Ellis pointed out that Cordina recently suffered a loss and underwent surgery on his right hand, which could impact his performance in the fight. He expressed doubts about whether Cordina would be fully recovered and questioned if Cordina might hesitate to use his right hand due to the surgery. According to Ellis, these factors could potentially make it an easier fight for Stevenson. He remarked, "I just heard he came off a loss and he had hand surgery as well on his right hand, so I don't know if he'll be 100% in the fight. Is he going to be afraid to throw the right hand? We just don't know until the time comes. So I think Shakur can beat him easy." Ellis also highlighted Shakur Stevenson's achievements as a 3-time champion, adding that fans expect an exciting, action-packed fight. He emphasized that boxing fans either want to see a knockout or a thrilling bout from start to finish, noting the high expectations surrounding Stevenson to deliver an entertaining performance.
That's what they say, prove himself, but, let him tell it, he already proved himself. Well, give the fans what they want to see, put it like that. He is a 3-time champion, good fighter, hell of a boxer, but, the fans want to see something. And it's not me trolling, it's just the reality of the sport. The fans, want to see a knockout.
On the flip side, Stevenson's counterpart in the lightweight division is known for his knockout power. With 28 knockouts in 30 fights, Davis packs immense power and unleashes it with precision after reading his opponents. Many believe that their contrasting styles would create an exciting matchup, but rising featherweight star Bruce Carrington Jr. feels that Stevenson needs to step up his game before facing Davis. In an interview with Jorge Jaysmuth of Mill City Boxing, Carrington expressed doubts about the potential for a Davis-Stevenson fight to become a big pay-per-view draw, largely because of Stevenson's recent performances. According to Carrington, right now, no. I feel because these guys are young, they have time to build it up, and because how the audience has been taking Shakur's last performance, the interest of it is low. For it to be big again, Shakur has to have exciting performances, at least back-to-back performances. However, Stevenson still commands respect from many boxing purists, including his next opponent, Joe Cordina. Cordina, known as the Welsh Wizard, defended Stevenson in an interview with Boxing Scene, stating, "It's mad, because I see loads of people giving him stick. But if you love the art of boxing, you can't knock it. How can you knock that? He hits and don't get hit. He's smart. He's one of the best defensive fighters there is right now, so I don't understand what they're saying. I genuinely don't get it. It's people that just don't see the art of boxing. All they want to see is knockouts." However, in another interview, Cordina also teased Stevenson for calling out Gervonta Davis, suggesting that Stevenson's confidence was a bit misplaced. Cordina jokingly remarked that he doesn't see anyone currently capable of stepping up to Davis.
I'll be honest, I don't see anyone beating Tank in that way. I don't see anyone. Well, I'm at the weight now, so I might just throw a lucky digger and throw him a kick. But nah, listen, he's. I just think he got, since he beat the likes of Leo Santa Cruz, his confidence has just gone through the roof. Now he's talking the shit like everyone else is now. Do you get me? He never used to talk like that, but he's giving it. Then he boxed Rowley, and he's giving him some. And yeah, I'm a massive fan of him. Do you get me? So yeah.
Najeem Johns, a respected pro boxer from Pennsylvania, shared his thoughts on the potential matchup between Gervonta Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. He acknowledged the talent of both fighters but leaned toward Davis securing the victory. While praising Shakur's abilities, Johns ultimately didn't believe Stevenson could overcome Davis's power and skill, citing Tank's track record of dominance in the ring. He stated, "That's a good fight. Tank is going to be Tank. I think Tank is going to come out victorious. Shakur is a great fighter himself, but I just don't see him beating Tank." Johns went on to emphasize Davis's often overlooked versatility, pointing out that many people underestimate Tank's boxing skills due to his reputation as a knockout artist. According to Johns, while no one has yet forced Davis to fully display his technical side, a fight with Stevenson could be the one to bring that out. He added, "People don't know that Tank can box if he wants to, but nobody has brought that out of him yet. I think Shakur Stevenson might be the one to do that. He's a boxer, but Tank is a puncher. Any shot he lands on Shakur could end it early." Shakur Stevenson's entry into the lightweight division has been underwhelming so far. His recent bout against Edwin de los Santos was heavily criticized, with many fans calling it a snooze fest. Stevenson managed to throw only 209 punches and landed a mere 65. Hoping to bounce back, he aimed to deliver an exciting performance against Artem Harutyunyan in his first WBC lightweight title defense this year, but even that fight left much to be desired. In fact, the bout was so uneventful that Stevenson was booed by his own hometown crowd, with many fans seen leaving the venue before the fight ended. In the It Is What It Is podcast, Floyd Mayweather, who played a pivotal role in shaping much of Gervonta Tank Davis' career before their eventual split, spoke highly of both Davis and Shakur Stevenson. Mayweather highlighted the differences between the two, saying, "You got guys fighting between 130, 135, and 160. They stacked around that area. As of right now, the two guys, the biggest puncher at 135 would probably be Gervonta Tank Davis, but the most skillful fighter at 135 would be, hands down, Shakur Stevenson." Davis, known for his devastating power, has finished all but two of his opponents inside the distance, making him one of the hardest hitters in the division. On the other hand, Stevenson's knockout ratio stands at 45%, but his defensive prowess is unmatched, statistically making him one of the best defensive fighters in the sport. When asked if skills alone could make someone the best without having the punching power to keep opponents honest, Mayweather agreed, saying, "It's really all about skills. Pernell Whitaker wasn't a huge puncher, but he was very exciting, very tough, and he fought everybody. Shakur is trying to do the same thing. He wants to fight the best they got out there. Mayweather also hinted at a future collaboration with Stevenson, stating, "I believe his contract is coming to an end, so hopefully we can come together and I can get him to the next level with the fights he needs that he wants." Evans Tobler, in his analysis of the potential Davis-Stevenson matchup, praised Davis as the dominant force at 135 pounds. Tobler said, "Davis is the current face of boxing, and he and his team are doing a great job of keeping him on the top of the division. He believes that a fight between Davis and Stevenson would be a thrilling encounter."
A few weeks ago, who do you view as the best of the 135 pounders? It's being billed as this 4 kings, 3 kings. It's sort of hard to keep track, but how do you summarise that division and who's at the top of it at the minute?
It's only one, and that's Gervonta Davis. Everybody else, they're coming up the ladder. So I'd like to see him and Shakur fight, and then we could, we can really say who's the best. But at this moment, he's the best at 135, and I think he's the face of boxing as well. He's exciting, he's explosive, and I think this Gervonta Davis is hard to beat. He's focused, he's zoned in on what he needs to do as a professional fighter, and his team, unbelievable. Coach Calvin, Coach Kenny, that whole team, those men know him. They know him as a man. And when you have that type of relationship with these fighters, the sky's the limit. So Gervonta Davis is, without a doubt, the best at 135.
When asked how a potential fight between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Shakur Stevenson would unfold, Tobler highlighted both fighters' strengths, emphasizing Davis's underrated ring intelligence and punching power, while also acknowledging Stevenson's defensive mastery, which makes him an elusive target. Evans Tobler shared his thoughts, stating, "Well, it would be one hell of a fight, but we don't know. We do know one thing about Gervonta: his IQ is out the ceiling. They don't give him much credit for that, and he can punch too. And then you got Shakur Stevenson, who's one hell of a boxer. We haven't seen him get punched because you can't hit him, so it's one hell of a fight." Leonard Alerbe spoke confidently about Gervonta Davis's future plans, describing Davis's aggressive approach and mindset. He explained that Davis is determined to go after every major name in boxing, moving forward with a clear purpose. According to Alerbe, Davis is carrying a hit list of top fighters he aims to conquer as part of his quest to make a bold statement in the sport.
He has a hit list, and he's going to get every one of these guys who y'all say are the top guys. Trust me, Shakur's gonna get that work. He asking for it, he gonna get that work. But it ain't what he think it is. It ain't what he think it is.
Ilerby went on to emphasize that Davis's goal is to face the best fighters in the division, listing names like Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda, and Vasily Lomachenko as targets. He stressed that Davis wasn't just looking to compete, but to solidify his position as the top fighter by taking on and defeating the biggest names in boxing.
All these guys who you guys say are the top guys out there, Tank gonna get every one of these guys. He just can't fight them all in one night. He done already got Ryan Garcia out the way. Next is Frank Martin on the hit list.
Calvin Ford, Gervonta Davis's coach, acknowledged the financial significance of a potential fight with Shakur Stevenson, confirming that a contract would be sent to Stevenson. However, Ford clarified that the final decision ultimately rests with Davis, citing the logistical and financial complexities involved in arranging such a major event. He said, "Yes, we are going to send him a contract, but I don't know when. That's up to Tank. It has to make dollar sense because when you sit there and put a show together, it takes a lot of time and money." Ford also reflected on why so many fighters are eager to face Davis, noting that it's often driven by both financial incentives and the competitive challenge. He elaborated on Davis's prominence in boxing, explaining that Davis is frequently mentioned as both a top contender and a lucrative opponent. Ford added, "I kept saying all the guys want to fight each other. Tank wants to see them guys. It's just based on, and I keep saying this, if they're fighting Tank for money, or if they're fighting Tank saying they can beat him. Because if you look at the rhythm of social media, everybody always mentions Tank's name. With the highly anticipated fight between Tank and Lamont Roach now on the horizon, the big question remains here. Can Roach rise to the occasion and shock the world, or will Tank continue his reign of dominance with another devastating performance? Let us know your thoughts and predictions below, and if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so we can connect together for an upcoming thrilling video.